Hey, 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 welcome back. Welcome back to the Scorpio channel. My name is Laura. If you're new to my channel, I'm going to do a general message for Scorpio. Know that energy is fluid, rules could be reversed. Just interpret the message as it best resonates with you. Also, know on this channel and all my channels, I like to dive deep within the reading. So I do look at everything, but we take time to look at the spiritual blocks, the shadows, to see how they play out as karmic themes to help you understand why everything's playing out the way that it is. Hoping to make it through this reading. They have fireworks, and my dogs are going crazy. It's like it was really going bad before, but every now and again you probably hear a little dog cry. It's like I thought that all the fireworks were going to be done. All right. Hope everyone has had a very happy new year, rung on the new year good, and everyone's excited about 2026. I know that I am. I'm excited for this year. I don't know. I just have a good feeling about it. All right. Let's see. We're going to look first at, what you need to do. We're not even going to look at the relationship first because we're starting a new year. I want you guys to get on the right track. And I've been starting the readings off this way for the past, I think, 2 days. But I feel like, still want to do that. All right. Honor. And the reason why is because, hey, listen, if you're bringing in the same nasty energy, like from the past readings that we've had, with like people that have attachment issues and they're avoidant and they're abusive, well, you don't want to be bringing that energy into the new year. It's time. It's time. Okay. Betrayal. That's why I felt that, I felt like lately, that's been the karmic theme, whether it's with a relationship or whether it's like with friends or what, again, betrayal. And you might be someone that has continued to live karmic themes of a betrayal. And it's all about trust. So this is talking about honoring yourself. And I feel like there's going to be a lot of people, and I don't know why I feel this, that are going to be trying to come back into your life, which means there might be something happening big in your life. But, listen, it's about honoring yourself. And if you might not have the strongest of boundaries, I'm picking up, you have to be careful. And we're going to see why I just felt that. I want to see what your person, I know, I want to see what else you need to look at. You still want to look at. The karmic cycles of betrayal that play over and over and over again, it would make you feel inadequate, would make you not feel safe. Like there's a lot of problems that come with that. That's a root chakra issue. So what Spirit says that you should focus on is nutrition. Now understand, if you've been somebody that has had betrayal and have been connected to someone that doesn't make you feel safe, then your digestion is most likely looks like it's fine sometimes and then it's not, and it's fine sometimes and it's not. And that's because when you're connected to somebody that you can't trust, because that's what I associate betrayal with, then you're always going in survival mode. You have overactive cortisol, so you don't get the nutrients that you need. And so that's what Spirit says I want you to focus on. Remember, we're looking at the focus and focus also is on finances. Spirit says I want you to focus on like more of your finances. And that should always be, I always tell people through their passions, right? I always tell people that. It's not really in a card, but they say that because money has no energy except for the energy that you're giving it. And if you have trauma because of betrayal, and that means you grew up in an environment where there was betrayal, like a parent could have been an alcoholic, could have had their own issues, whatever. It's not a blame game, but understand that betrayal of a parent not showing up for you in some way or another will play out until you heal the spiritual lesson. And so money again has no energy except for the energy you give it. So if someone didn't make you feel safe, they didn't make you feel worthy, well then guess what? That's what your bank account's going to reflect on that. And it's mainly because you lived in survival mode. You didn't create yourself. Now that will also create problems within the second chakra, obviously, which is all about the relationships and trust and being able to go with the flow of life and the passion for life. So Spirit's saying it's that, and it's that every self-honoring boundary that you set has the potential to heal the other person. So, we live karmic cycles, and just karmic themes continue to play out. And when we're talking about betrayal, we're talking about how we teach a person to treat us. Now, if you're too nice, you don't have boundaries. Spirit saying the other person doesn't learn. See, every soul relationship is not that people don't like you. It's like people might like you a lot, but then when things are too easy, when things are always available, well, then what happens is that people take the other person for granted. And so, when you have boundaries, what you're doing is you're teaching people how you want to be treated. Also, when you have boundaries, you're not so close up to the picture, where Spirit says you can tell the person, hey, listen, I'm not going to be around. You teach a person like through how much you give them. And so the boundary is that because of betrayal, where Spirit's saying your mind can't be in two places at one time. So it should be focused on your finances this year, not on the person. Now, understand, doesn't mean that the person, like you won't meet a person or that this person won't come back. What Spirit is saying is you need to focus on yourself, because if you're strong, then you can set the boundaries. Otherwise, you're not strong within yourself, and then you're also worried because of betrayal has happened before. So the combination of it keeps you in a place of lack, which is why you keep repeating that. Why Spirit saying it's time to honor yourself. It's about you, and where you're picking up, how to eat right and take care of yourself because of that betrayal type energy. Being around that energy, there it creates a lot of problems. Put your hand on your heart and ask, what do you really know about this situation? So this could be about person that you're connected to. Maybe that's what's really heavy on your mind right now. And so the answers are inside of you. Spirit saying it's like you might surprise yourself, which is like you might find some compassion if you feel like you're stuck to a person right now and you're angry and you don't really know what you want, which is not uncommon energy if you're pulling this energy. Because you never feel fully content with someone until you're content with yourself. And that's really what Spirit is saying take a moment to consider the things that you don't like about yourself, and with love and compassion. So whatever is missing, whatever is those shadows. And what I feel that really is you get into a relationship and you give too much, you lose yourself, and then betrayal happens and you're like, I don't know why, I was just a nice person. Like I just wanted to treat them the way I wanted to be treated. And Spirit says, yeah, but your bowl was empty. Like if your glass is not full, right, and here it is, you barely have enough and you're giving, then what happens is you become depleted, and then people look at you through the depleted energy, when meanwhile they met you when your cup was full. They don't honor that, because people don't honor nice. They honor respect and boundaries. And it's just, the world's not perfect. The world's unperfect. Remember, it says that. It says, don't let the world tell you who you are. It's again, you're allowed to be in the world without becoming a part of it. So otherwise, if you become a part of it, it'll always bring you back to like a negative energy, because it's not designed for that. It's designed for you to give your money, your energy, and whatever away, not for you to use those resources, which is, you're the magician of your life. You have all the tools, but not to use your tools towards you. It's people want it so that they can become rich, right? So the key is to keep the focus on what you want. Being beautiful and authentic self is the greatest contribution you can make to the world. So being true to yourself, something true to yourself. So you might be finding like, I don't really know what I want to do job wise. It's like I'm in a job, but I don't know if I'm going to stay in this job. I don't know if I like this job. All that energy that is spirit saying like you shouldn't be in a relationship when it's like that, because you don't know where you are. You're not in a strong place. So you don't realize that emotionally, unless you're giving to yourself, then you're going to look for a person to give it. And then a person's going to give it for a certain amount, and then they're not going to give it anymore. And they're going to know that you also emotionally got connected to that person. And so it's all about, you know, how you treat it, how you're teaching a person on how you want to be treated is what spirit's saying. It's not it's not even about like the person not liking you or not do liking you. We're going to look and we're going to see where this person is right now out of curiosity, because what spirit's saying is like you need to find something that you're passionate about job wise. You need to put your energy there. And that doesn't mean you won't make friends and can't hang out. But when the focus is on that, then you're teaching a person how you want to be treated, because you're not giving everything away. You're not also losing yourself in the relationship, is what spirit is saying. I run away to avoid facing problems. This is like when we say, what is this person that you're connected to? Now that's annoying because it keeps you in a place of like not feeling secure, right? I mean, and also makes it very easy for them to like, well, I betray you, when you're not going to say anything, then I'm just going to come in and out of your life. Well, you're going to get mad at me, and then your mad is not really going to stay. But like, I just avoid you, and that's the energy, and no one wants to be in a relationship with an avoidant person. I'm sending you loving energy. Can you feel it? But this person still wants to be connected. They just don't want to be the one to reach out to you. They just don't want to, do the work, which is a sign, by the way, is how much a person invests. Person that invests is not going to shit all over their investment. You know what I mean? They're going to try to, even if they, cheat, they're still going to try to like restore the connection because of how much they've put in. So when you're connected to a person that doesn't really want to put in the time or the energy, well, if you make it easy, it's easy for them to betray you too, because they're love bombing, and your glass wasn't full to begin with, and here they're coming in love bombing you, but this person really does have feelings because they're working up the courage to call you. And I think that's just because they see that you're not going to call them. Will you give me a second chance? Every now and again, it does happen on this channel. Just not often, maybe like once a year. So like, like this person is like in separation. I wish I could turn back the clock and do things over again. I'm done playing games. I feel like this person like, played a game with you thinking that you were gonna, fix the connection, fight for the connection, do something, and you were like, peace out. It's like if that's what you want to do, then that's what you want to do. And now this person pretty much has no choice but to I'm either gonna be able to fix it or I'm stuck. You're the first person that makes me feel this way. I wish you knew how grateful I am to have met you, and I'm ashamed of how I treated you. So, I mean, that's just within one deck. We didn't even look at the spiritual cards, which we will. But, here it is. It's like that's when a person learns. And I feel like, again, because you're not, it's about honoring yourself. Because if you give too much to this person that there's still a connection to, they're just going to betray you. And it's not because they don't have feelings, but there's clearly something here where a person can have feelings and love a person, but also have spiritual blockages where they sabotage the connection. We're going to see whether this person does that. Um, but this is pretty self-explanatory. Love like ours can change the world. And so I just feel like this person is like, wow, we really had a spiritual connection, and I was more in my ego. I wanted to control. I didn't really want to give you what you wanted, which was a committed relationship. I wanted to be able to do what I wanted to do, but I didn't want the relationship to end. And this person played too many games that the relationship ended, and you were like, okay, bye. Like, and they're like, wait, that wasn't supposed to go that way. And you're like, well, I'm not going to fix it because I didn't break it, and this person knows it. So again, respect. See, like what happens is that this person realizing that they project their patterns. And so when they project their patterns, and you can project your patterns onto them, and it really makes it difficult to see what's real and what's not. And that's when people have intimacy and trust issues. So it's not that this person doesn't have feelings for you. They always knew who you were. They did not want the depth of this connection. A soul connection is one where you can't not, you know, you can't walk away from. You want to walk away. This person tried to walk away. It's not it, but they couldn't walk away. And what they're realizing is, wait, that you can walk away. That's scary to this person because it triggers their sense of abandonment, which is why they have intimacy issues to begin with. So, but the thing is, they created the walls because of it, right? And so, being close to you, and you're being that you hold them to a standard, well, it's going to project, they're going to get angry because it's their fear. And so then it's like, well, you don't really want to be with me. And then it's like, you're like, I didn't say I don't want to be with you. I don't want to deal with that bullshit, whatever that you're showing me. And so it's bringing this person to a place of realizing that they need to be strong in who they are before that they can merge with your energy in the 3D, because they'll lose themselves in the relationship, which is about the codependency, which, by the way, is what this person normally runs into a relationship, and they get people to emotionally connect with them. And what they're saying is, oh, no, you can walk away from me. You're like, oh, I don't care. And what they're seeing is, I can't walk away from you. So I can get hurt. And this person looking at projecting onto you who they are, because they were a cheater, because they don't get deep in relationships. They don't build that emotional connection. They run away from facing their problems. So the relationship never gets deep. With this, they still ran from their problem. It's just after the fact, it's like it's bothering them. They're still thinking about you. They can't control it. It's not something that they volunteered for. That's the thing. Don't be tempted to disconnect from source. Our connection to source is the love and healing we require for reunion. So I just think the energy of God is unconditional love. When we're healing, and when we get a past life karmic mate that's projecting and there's fear, it's never a one-sided thing. And it's a hard relationship, because it's like you love the person but they piss you off. You love the person, but you're like, I don't know whether it can work, because, like you said, they it's going to trigger you. So you would want to disconnect, but disconnecting from them really is disconnecting from source, because they are mirroring the wound that you need to heal. to revolve back into the energy of unconditional love, which is the energy of source. The illusion is that we're separate from God. There is no separation. The illusion is because of the spiritual blockages. We don't know that we have blockages until we start projecting and start running away from problems, and then it plays out within the relationship. So you see that this person has all these wounds, but it doesn't mean that they don't have feelings. It's like that's why the relationship's confusing, because you're like, I know what I feel. I know that that person has feelings for me, but it's like, then why did they do that? And it's like, I don't know. It's like why they did it. And Spirit says, well, I'll tell you why. Because you incarnated together to clear specific patterns from your ancestral bloodline. So you were born into families that, taught you, kind of taught you wrong based on their perception due to what they went through. And this person went through that, you went through that. So you have spiritual blockages because of living in those realities. Are you aware of all of them? No. They happen in childhood. So again, the ancestral wounds is like meaning like I was born into this family and I inherited. And how did they get it? Well, what was going on collectively? And again, passed down from generation to generation to generation. So they're old wounds. They're wounds that you're like, it's not a wound. That's who I am. That's who I am. That's how it's going to be. And Spirit says, that's not who you are. It's like, I didn't make that. It's like, and you know that I didn't make it because I'm never angry. I don't get mad. I'm the energy of unconditional love. I'm not that energy. Again, even by your response, Spirit says, that you're blocked. I'm changing this pattern and moving forward, which, by the way, is what soul relationships are supposed to do. If there's real love, it's like the person changes the pattern. Are they aware that they have a pattern? No. They just know that they like that person. It's the other person that's holding to a standard. The karma is based on what you do, and how you play it. Where this person tends to get in their ego. The ego is fragile to criticism and rejection. So they've created walls, which is what that projection is. And that unconditional love, well, guess what? You can't have walls. You have to be vulnerable. You have to but it's terrifying for a person that has a lot of wounds of shame and guilt and betrayal. And I'm going to get myself caught up and lost in you, and you're going to leave me. Because they, again, don't like certain aspects of themselves. That's what the shadows are, parts of yourself that you reject, parts of yourself that you disassociate from. You're bringing that out to this person, so there's a sense of, I can't really have it, I can't really have it. And I'm afraid when I have it. So it's almost like, the fear of getting close, but then there's also a want to get close. And this person needs to release attachments with karmic people. So, and they're creating a plan. So when you met this person, they weren't even, I feel like they were living in a sham of a connection. Man, it's no love. Someone was there. Now, it could have been someone that they've dated for a long time and kind of led on and was like, yeah, one day we're going to get married, but they didn't really ever feel it, but they felt obligated. I'm feeling that's for some. Another, it's like they were with that person, but it's been long over. No love, intimacy shot to shit because of trust issues, but they're held together with guilt and shame, which, by the way, is what Spirit says is the karmic things that need to come out, right? That this person needs to release guilt and shame, to criticism and rejection. Again, and these are the patterns from the ancestral bloodline. So it's like this person's connected to a codependent like thing. But when you met them, I feel like they were like, I'm single. And you were like, well, they're really single because they're never like around that person. Yes. But there's still like a little bit of guilt. It's still codependent, you know. So they have to figure out a way to leave and leave the correct way, not just leave the wrong way, because I feel like this person has left the wrong way and has always come back. Because words have hurt them in the past, and that's why they fear talking to you and everybody else. So they don't really communicate. So what happens is that I feel like they'll say that they've left a person because there's really no love there, but then it's like, oh, it reverts back to this codependent thing where they don't really want to be in it, but they're not, setting boundaries either, because it's a little safe space. And that's the thing. So this person is like, yes, they're making a plan to finally leave this person, but I understand it's only because this person's never had a connection like the one that they have with you before. It's like they've tried to walk away. They've tried to. And that's energy that this person can really see, like, is who's a karmic and who's really my soulmate. And it's like they can see you're really my soulmate because I really have unconditional love for you, and there's no guilt. You're not making this person do anything. Remember, you're like, peace out. You're not happy? Peace out. It's like, I'm not going to chase you. I'm not going to fix this. I'm not going to do anything. It's all on you. Is so where if this person's connected to a karmic, well, that karmic isn't doing that, doesn't have that energy, because this person's an avoidant. They run from their problems. So the person that they're with, they created major intimacy issues, which is trust, because the one person didn't emotionally get what they needed, and that's because this person only went surface. So I feel like held together, maybe through having a child, maybe through, again, like there was some sort of thing that they created together, so there was guilt. But with you, it's like we don't have any of that. We don't have any past. There's no reason why I shouldn't be able to walk away from you. And that's the thing. It's like when it's real, you feel it, and they've never felt it before, is what spirit is saying. Um, our mission is to be unconditional love. Clearing our programming is a necessary part of opening our hearts. Very twin flamey energy. Um, you know, where that's the whole thing of being born into ancestral karma. Well, there is programming, and you wouldn't like be able to like heal. And to be able to heal is to, yes, open your heart, but you have to unblock it first. And so to bear trust and betrayal, and you know is that for this person, it's like they wound up doing it, and you have betrayal too, but this is about like really honoring yourself. And that's why spirit says boundaries, because this person's coming back whether you want them to or not. It's like this person feels like you're their person. It's like, and I hate to say it, we've been getting that lately, maybe just a little bit different of a story, but not even that much. Why I'm saying, like, this person really feels like I'm coming back, I'm coming back. And because the more that you don't do anything, I feel the more that karmic is like, when are you going to come back around? Like, this karmic is always able to get that person to come back around, because this person never uses their words, never creates boundaries, never, but there's no love, there's no passion, there's no, you know, even if they have a connection where it's like friendship, I don't want to hurt you, but like, or even obligated, it's they can tell the difference between, oh, like, you're my person, I know I'm supposed to be with you, I know that I'm supposed to be with you. So, and they look at your life and they look at you and they say, I fit into your life. Now, I don't know, I feel like You can't just let somebody come back into your life, and that's the thing. But this person saying, I've been so grounded all my life, it's hard for me to trust the spiritual elements of our connection, yet I can't deny that they exist. So, what it is that this is a twin flame connection that has a very strong spiritual connection. This person's not a spiritual person. And so they were able to live at a lower frequency, connected to someone else, but living compartmentalized. You come along and they're like, oh, I'm single, because they're pretending to be single. They live single. They're not really with that person, but they have obligation or feel obligated. So here it is. They have four for you. You're not going to play by their rules. They try and make you play by their rules. You're like, I'm not doing that. It backfired. They're stuck with that person now. Instead, still feeling that spiritual connection, still like that pull. Where again, I'm trying to understand how our thoughts create our reality. This person is never, they've never been a spiritual person. So for the first time, they're looking at how it's their choices on why their life looks the way that it does. Clearing karmic patterns for this person is like, well, stop running from your problems and go deeper into the connection and nurture the connection. That's emotionally where I feel like for you, spirit started off and said, oh, but we're not going to do the same energy. What you're going to focus on is you're going to focus on work. Remember, you're going to focus on work, and you're going to focus on your nutrition and your health and that, and not because regardless of whether this person comes back or somebody else comes back or somebody new comes into your life, where I feel like this person's coming back regardless. You have to teach a person on how you want to be treated. Betrayal comes from the fact that you did not have boundaries. You did not have other things in your life. You expected to be treated the way you wanted to be treated, and this person is surface. They're not a spiritual person. Doesn't mean that they're not a good person. But again, that's not their strength. And with a twin flame, you're not going to get two spiritual people. You're just not. You're going to get a business person that's not good with their emotions, with a person that's an emotionally intelligent one. Because, you're good at it doesn't mean that they're good at it. The twin flame teaches by holding to a standard, but you're the teacher. You think that person doesn't know anything? The fact that they're twin flame from past life karmic mate is the fact that they actually want to do the work. They're still coming back broken. You're the one that's teaching them. But they're like, I want to, I want to, I want to. And God says, well, then it's up to you. You still have free will to do it. God says, I don't care whether you're with that person or not, because they already they already learned the lesson, and that's the whole thing. They understand if it doesn't work out, why it didn't work out, and that's their karma. So God says, I don't really care. Like you can be with them, you cannot, but you need to expand your concept of what a twin flame really is. It's more than a romance. It's deep soul activation to heal in order to embody love and light, is what Spirit says. It's like you get the person that is going to help you, is that's going to heal you. It's going to bring out your gifts, your attributes, because this is your other half, remember? They're going to teach you too. And there is love there. There is passion, but there's also like a fuck you, I hate you. And that's because all that other trauma that's there, those blockages that this person, again, is coming in, they're awakening, and they hold to a standard. And you do the same thing for that person. It's like they don't volunteer. These feelings overwhelm me and I become afraid. So again, you're not dealing with a very strong person. Sometimes I even run away from it because of it. So again, that's going to make you feel abandoned. That's going to make you feel like you run away from your problems. You run away from your feelings. You run away. That's a pain in the ass. That's what you got, a big pain in the ass. But the bottom line is the person's like, I'm going to try. I'm going to try. But understand when you're, if you have a child, or when you had a child and they were like one, they're going to try to go to the bathroom and the potty, but they're going to miss it a lot. That's because they're not good with it. They don't remember. It's not important. So you remember you have to kind of be the parent a little bit. Otherwise, you're not going to get what you want with this person. You might be like, why do I need to do it? And Spirit says, because you never get what you want. It's like you need to teach people what you want because you create the same thing. You're like, well, that's not fair. You didn't treat me well. And the Spirit says, well, whose fault was that? It's yours, you know. Um, and otherwise, what'll happen? You're both going to project your own fears and limitations onto each other. And we got that one before, where it's like that which the twin flame will do that because like there is love, there is passion, but it brings up the fear. But the whole point is you can't walk away. That it's like, well, it's not that you won't get mad. It's not that you don't want to kill that person, but there's a lot of passion. And that passion is to help transmute those stubborn inner child wounds, those ancestral wounds, which is like again, that's just who I am. And Spirit says that's not who you are. It's like that environment made you that way. And that's not, it's making you, it's a wound. It's making you separate from me, which is God, which is unconditional love. And this is what it looks like. Let's bring in this person. And that's why you got the IKEA model. You got to put it together. You're like, why? This person doesn't know like how to do anything. And Spirit says yes, because it's again they're spiritually blocked. Again, this person is tired of being away from you physically. They're trying to process their fears so that they can come back to you. And that's what we got before too. It's like they're coming back. It's not that they're not, but they're triggered, they're angry, they're fearful, they have all these emotions, but there's passion there. So it's normal because it's awakening a lot of wounds, but there is that love and Spirit is the only thing that transmutes certain spiritual blockages is the passion. It's passion, it's fire. So it's like, and the twin flame is that way. So otherwise this person wouldn't leave. They were comfortable living a double life. You think that they cared? They're not a spiritual person. I can live that way. I don't care. It's like it works for me. I don't care if it works for you. That means that's the type of person. Selfish person. So the fact that they even want to is that, where did I just see? It's like, I feel you leaving me behind. That's trash, which is why they're moving forward. And it's only you can make me feel this way. Only like I've never had this like before. It's like, so again, twin flame comes into life when they've gone through a lot and they're like, I'm ready to actually do the work, but like I said, you're not getting a person healed. You're getting a person that wants to, but you're the one that's going to teach them. So whatever you're going to get which is why you got started off the correct way, to give very little to this person. They have to work for it. That's why the focus is on finances. The focus is on nutrition. It's on those energies. And then I want to pull the transmutation cards. Where the heck are they? I thought I put them over there. No, they're over here. Okay. Because you have to alchemize the energy. And then we want to look at some of the wounds, your wounds. Because you can't control the other person, but if you know what you need to integrate and what needs to, you need to create balance, then a lot of times you avoid negative karma. So Spirit's saying take time out to tap into the higher self, the God part of self. When you're like in a twin flame connection, the problem is that there's so much emotion. So you don't know what you think or feel. a lot of times. And so you'll react based on, again, that person triggering you, where Spirit's saying you need to take time out. You need to take time out and like to tap into like that God part of self. I always tell people, do the Silva Ultra Mind method, gets you down to the theta level of your mind. That's the ESP level. So it's where you're going to be most open to getting like intuitive guidance, but it's also gets you down to the self healing. So your body can actually heal itself. So people that have had hypertension and they've had other like issues related to their heart, cholesterol, they have lowered it. They've lowered their inflammation by doing this meditation alone. You can look that up. Silva Ultra Mind Method. But Spirit saying you need to take time out because again, that person's going to emotionally catch you up. And if you're someone that's normally reactionary to begin with, well, like meaning like you get like people can trigger you where you'll react. Spirit says, well, then you really want to do it. Spirit says, because this is about this whole connection is really to help you let go of who you were and become who you want to be. But part of you is like, I don't really even know what that looks like. And Spirit says, well, you're gonna teach this person. You're gonna lay the groundwork, and it just means from being in the relationship, you're telling this person what you want. You're holding to a standard. And you know that you have to do it because you know what tendencies this person has. So it's not like it's being hidden from you. They're like, this is your twin flame. Yes, there is a chance that this person can hurt you. Yes, they can betray you. Yes, but they don't want to. They want to come back in. They want a second chance. They want a do-over because you don't give a shit and you're moving on. But bottom line is, it's like, if you hold to a standard, they're not going to do it, is what Spirit says. But you have to hold to a standard because they're ready to do it. It's a relationship, believe it or not, that is going to require you to like release control. Because the more that you try and control, the more that the relationship doesn't work out. Remember, you're both learning what unconditional love is. That's what a twin flame connection is. So Spirit says, take time, go out into the unknown, stir up your curiosity about where you want to put your other time, maybe pick up a hobby, aside from just working and friends. You want to make your life as rounded as it could be, because when you have a connection like this, if you get too bored within your regular life, you're going to want to hang out with this person. It's not like you're not. And Spirit says, it's not that you can't hang out with the person, but you want to make it not so easy for the person. Because remember, this person doesn't like to try. So you're teaching them kind of like a toddler. And toddler doesn't want to, do what they have to do. You have to show them. And so Spirit's saying is to help you release the chains that bind you. You were made to live for a long time, being made to feel a certain way about yourself that wasn't true. And so when you hold to a standard and you're teaching, you're showing it. And also to release control to help you go with the flow of life. Now, you would only get that, by the way, we kind of did this reading backwards, if you had like a parent that wasn't that nice to you. It's like release the chains that know that, those limiting beliefs of I'm not good enough, I'm not worthy, I'm not loved, whatever those core beliefs are. And to, again, be able to let go is to by becoming it, by stepping into like the energy that you want. So you're getting a person like that you actually have to teach, because they don't know. But understand, you not being able to articulate and then winding up with the person that doesn't know. And if you don't say anything, it's going to make you pissed off, because you're going to be like, well, you don't want to do it. Why don't you want to do it? Why don't, and this, that has nothing to do with the fact that this person doesn't want to do it. It's that they don't know how to do it. Neither way, it'll come up like neglect. And it comes back to how much you love yourself. If you were neglected, well, there is trauma there to the point that you disassociated it, because that could have been because parent was very angry, an angry parent, a parent that is always yelling or comes across as angry, and when they're are around, they're not really giving you time. They're not nurturing you. So it just kind of seems like, in order to deal with that parent, had to be detached. And you were kind of taught how to love yourself by how that parent was treating you, but also like how they were treating themselves. And it just shows a lot of like unworthy, like if you don't put time in, but if my mom puts time in only when she's yelling at me over like my schoolwork, well, again, then love's conditional. So it could be something as simple as that. But unfortunately, these cards don't really say that because it's, again, we see abuse here. So there could be real psychological and emotional abuse where you were brought up by a parent that, was angry. They were angry with their own life and they projected their anger onto you. And so you weren't allowed to have your unique unfoldment process. You were made to feel that love was conditional and you didn't get your emotional needs met. That's why you're getting a person like that. That's like emotionally handicapped because there's a sense that you need it where Spirit's saying you don't need anything. But you have to, also teach people what you want. But if you weren't allowed to do that when you were growing up, it could be a real fear of, oh, like I wasn't allowed to. I was rejected. I was made to feel as if there was something wrong with me because I wanted that. So there would still be a lot of trauma around it. Even if that person, like you said, they don't mean to, it's you're still being asked to articulate because of those energies. Yeah, I mean, that's a big deal. The whole neglect, rage, abuse, feeling unworthy, to the point that, if you're trying to get the love and you're going to set boundaries, hey, you seem as rebellious, where you're not being rebellious. That's someone that's going to focus on your reaction to the fact that they're not going to give to you. And people that are angry will tend to do that. So if you're in this type of an environment, you're definitely going to have spiritual wounds, right? Like you already see, because the detachment, it is that disassociation, meaning I know that it happened. I just don't remember parts of it. I don't remember what I feel. That's a sign. Another sign is feeling unworthy to the point that you're, again, you might not even say that you don't love yourself. You might think that you do love yourself, but who comes to you and how they act is a sign that you don't. And so that comes back down to boundaries again. And here we see, look at this. Emotional repression fell out. So we're looking at like the wounds. How does it continue to play out? Like those inner child wounds of feeling unworthy, of feeling abused, of feeling, by having been raised by a rageful parent, by being neglected. Well, again, that emotional suppression shows up as difficulty expressing and acknowledging your own needs, which disassociation will do, by the way, leading to numbness, frustration, or even outbursts, and manifests as suppressing your feelings, avoiding pain, fear of vulnerability, often resulting in internalizing stress and unresolved emotional wounds. So it's like that's like you'll find yourself like, okay, I'm back in a relationship where I'm not allowed to express myself. I have to eat it. And that's what Spirit's saying. That's how that plays out, and you don't want to be in a connection with someone that's like that. Because what it is it just makes you feel like devalued, like you're not important, like you're not good enough. Like there's something wrong. The wound shows up as feeling less than. often feeling, uh, often from being idealized, then devalued. It can lead to self criticism, fear of rejection, and accepting love, worthiness, conditional. Again, that's what I was saying about that love is conditional. Being taught that love is conditional. And that's what showed up in that. So if I speak, then I'm seen as rebellious, I'm seen as bad. So it's like I'm going to eat it, but it keeps me in a place of feeling like, well, I'm not really important. Fear of failure, and hypervigilance wound. Well, abuse will do that, right? So if you grew up with a parent that wasn't nice to you, and you know, you're going to be overly sensitive to anyone that comes into your life that's an authority figure or somebody that's like you want to have an emotional connection to. And that could even be a friend. Doesn't necessarily have to be a lover. It could be, again, a teacher, someone that you want to impress, like anyone. And what happens is it shows up as tension, over analyzing, and a constant sense of needing to be on because you don't feel safe, which abuse will do that. And with this type of abuse, it looked like it was more like almost like a bully, you know? So, which is for a kid, that's terrifying. It's hard to unwind and let your guard down, often linked to past trauma. This pattern blocks rest, ease, and trust in the present moment. It makes you not present, makes you not grounded because you're up in your head. So spirit says, well, that means you need to do healing. And that healing for you would be some sort of body mind medicine, do weight training, because it's all about it's all about the breath. When you that exhale is what signals um, that parasympathetic nervous system to shut off. If you're like overstimulated, caring because you grew up in abuse, and then survival was based on that, your sensitivity. But what helped you survive will block you from thriving. So that's why Spirit's saying you need to rewire. And you rewire that body mind through rewiring your nervous system, through the breath, through doing yoga, through doing weight training, through doing it's the whole thing is like to be uncomfortable and breathe through it. So that's what yoga does, right? You're in a pretzel and you're like have to breathe through it, because when you breathe through it, you don't have the pain. Most people, like, I'll give you an example. Like for me, I hate the cryo machine. And I used to belong to the gym, and I had this membership there that it came with the cryo, and I worked out with the trainer that was always like, "It's really good for you. It's really." Hated it because you go into the cryo machine and it gets freezing fucking cold, and I hate the cold. So what happens when people normally experience cold? They hold their breath, right? And so the whole point is that it teaches you to breathe through it. Breathe through it. People that have gone through trauma, they don't breathe. They hold it. And so they suffer from anxiety, they suffer from depression. So this is why Spirit's saying you need to rewire that. And that's so that you're not, hyper vigilant, because anything that you feel, once a person like senses that you care that much, hey, well then there it goes, the devaluation, because you care so much. You relive that wound of, no one cares, no one's there for me. I can't say anything emotionally, but you feel like undervalued. And Spirit saying that's the issue. It's like, and look, soul contract shows up as reoccurring patterns in relationships and challenges. So that's why I'm saying this person is like a twin flame. And that's why Spirit's saying, you know what? It's like the soul contract is that it can go either way, because twin flame can go either way, but it's up to you whether you're going to help hold this person to a standard. just because they're ready to do it doesn't mean that they want to. And so if you feel like you can, it would wind up going into a soul contract, which is not a pleasant thing. You're bound to like a person that keeps you pissed off. Shows up as, again, reoccurring patterns in the relationship. So someone that continues to run from you, that's an avoidant, so you emotionally don't get your needs met. Um, uncanny familiar. And it's like because you grew up in that environment, you've dealt with this energy before. You've known them in a past life, so it's uncanny because it's like there's a lot of deja vu's there. But then it's also like this is a reoccurring karmic pattern. That it's like these lessons often push you to face unresolved issues and grow in love, which is what the twin flame connection does. Not just love, but purpose, which is again what the transmutation process, which is the alchemy process, which is what twin flames do. It's like they transmute that pain into power. And it's through the fact that there's unconditional love, there's passion, but there's fire, but there's a lot of fucking emotion there too. Like I'm angry, I'm pissed off, I'm hurt because you brought that out in me, because that's always been there. And Spirit says you have to do something with that energy. That's the energy can't stay there. It's like it's because it'll turn to cancer. It becomes a block, but that's creative energy that you channel, and the twin flame like brings their gifts as you bring your gifts, the other half, to birth something, whether that's a baby or it's something gets made from that pain, and it's like part of a soul agreement. So it feels very much like this is my person. This is my person to help grow and face unresolved issues, to grow in love, purpose, strength, and resilience, which is what a twin flame relationship is. This just could be a positive soul contract, but understand that most of the soul contracts that we have are like they can go either way. And that's because you're the one that's teaching this person. So if you think that they're coming back and they might say all the right words, like they've learned everything, they haven't. It's like because they want it. So they might say it, but doing it and saying it, two different things. And Spirit's saying like that. Otherwise, you're going to be with a person that's going to drain your energy a lot. Because people that piss you off and trigger you, it's like that's what it is. It's draining on an emotional level. And Spirit says that won't happen though if you're focused on your job and your money and the other things that you have to focus on. Nutrition and taking care of yourself, self-love, and pouring into yourself, Spirit saying. That's a grounding thing where Spirit saying you need more ground, and that person needs to like open up their heart, and their third eye. You need to open up the lower chakras. This person needs to open up their higher chakras. So that's why the twin flame. It's like you're dealing with opposite energy. So it's like you're damned if you do, you're damned if you don't. And Spirit says it's just one of those type relationships that you can't really let go of because there really is love there. It's like, and there is a lot of passion, and there is reason why the person has come into your life. But they're a difficult relationship. They're just ready to do the work now. They want to do the work. And we see why you need them to come into your life. Spirit says, because you're going to need to express your emotions and tell this person exactly how they treat you, why they treat you. And they're going to do things that you're going to have to say because that's what it is. And you have a problem doing that. Remember, you grew up being a people pleaser, being hypervigilant, Spirit says, and you're not allowed to do that with this person. You won't get what you want with this person. And like because they don't know how to do it. Like I said, you gotta do it. The abandonment wound. What the hell is it? These cards? These are more cards that fell out that I didn't choose, but I see abandonment wound, despair wound, all that is that, look, another despair wound, like being in a relationship with someone that runs from you all the time. That's why this person is like, you're like, okay, you want to go, peace out. And that's why they're like, oh, all of a sudden starstruck, because you're saying you're not going to mess with me. But that's the level that you have to hold to. And sometimes you're not going to be that strong to be able to do it. You're not going to want to do it. You're going to be like, I want someone to come into my life to nurture me, to love me. And Spirit says, you need to show this person. It's like, it doesn't mean that they won't eventually get it. It's like, and it doesn't mean that they're not bringing other gifts, but you're going to get that energy in that person. And if it's not that person, I'm just going to bring you someone else that you have to do it for, because you didn't learn that spiritual lesson. You were abused, you were neglected. End of the story. So there's a sense of, well, I've never gotten it, so shouldn't I get it? And Spirit says, you got to give it to yourself first. And that's through your work and taking care of yourself. And we keep going back to the same thing, for you to get strong within yourself. And that's through your job, finances, your passions, like taking care of your life. So then when this person comes back, you're strong enough to deal with it, because it's not an easy relationship. It's like, you think that it's an easy relationship. It's not. And that this person knows that. That's why they're like, I'm not going to come back to you until I'm strong within myself, because I'm going to lose myself in you, because I actually have feelings for you. This shit's real. This isn't a surface thing. But it took them to go through, losing you and you being like, well, I don't care, in order for them to see, well, you picked staying with the wet towel that you don't want to be with, because hey, you had got your cake and eat it too. But what's the point when the cake is stale, and and it's been in the garbage for a few days? I mean, it's not good cake. Instead of the actual Carvel cake that you wanted, which you're the Carvel cake with the nice crunchy topping in there, the crunchies in there. And it's like, once you taste that one, it's like, I don't want that pathmark fucking stale ass cake that's, should have been thrown out last week. It's like, I tasted something different. It's new. I thought that I could live without it, because I've always been in control, but this is actually a real thing. It's like an epiphany for the person. So Spirit says, so they're coming back in this energy. So you're the one that needs to keep it like that. And that means you're not going to make it easy for this person. You're not going to be around for them all the time. You're not going to, and that's going to feel wrong. Healing doesn't feel good. You'd be like, well, I really want to give time because I enjoy the time. Spirit says, no. You get your enjoyment from other things in the beginning. It's like, and then later on, because you have to teach this person that they have to give. Otherwise, they won't know how to give. Their heart is shut. It's like, that's the whole thing. The twin flame relationship teaches how to open the heart. And that is not a controlled thing. That's why he kept saying, release control, release control, release control. You don't have control. You don't have control. Because the moment that you try and get control is the moment that this type of relationship gets bad. We end off with one more, because we already know that they're coming back. It's up to you whether you take them back. But Spirit says again, well, you're not even, the focus needs on your money and, again, creation. And really with this person, even when they come back, Spirit says, you have the power to direct your life. With a constructive attitude, create what is best for your soul. You firmly believe that you can transform and improve your inner and outer worlds by turning every thought into an affirmation and action. You act in the image of God and you bring light into your life. So it's also through creation. We're here to learn and to manifest. So what are you going to birth? What's creation? And that's by becoming yourself. And Spirit says, first, we want you strong. And that's why you got the reading that you got. You focus on that, and then you go out into the unknown and you feed what calls to you, is what Spirit's saying. It's like, and the path unfolds while you're on it. It's like, you just don't want to be so available for this person as soon as they come back. Like you said, you want them to work a little bit for it so that they realize, I really do love this person. I don't want to like lose this person and I have to put effort in because I lost this person. And they'll do it. And that's the whole thing. But if you don't forgive, which is another, by the way, twin flame thing, transmutation, if there was neglect and abuse, you're probably going to be like, I don't want to forgive this person because they didn't do it. Spirit says, well, again, you'll lose out on a good thing because this person's actually coming back and wanting to be different. And that's the whole thing. But doesn't mean that, you wouldn't then attract to somebody else that was just as good, Spirit saying. You know what I mean? At the end of the day, God doesn't care who you pick. He cares that you revert back to your original energy of unconditional love, where you're not feeling devalued, where you feel like, again, loved, where you can speak freely and say, hey, this is how I feel and this is what I expect of you, without a person running and avoiding and treating you as if it's difficult to love you, because that's the reoccurring energy. I get people that act as if I'm difficult to love. And really, Spirit saying, because you need to heal that within inside of yourself. And that's by doing those things. So I'm going to leave that there. You let me know how you resonated. And again, Happy New Year to you guys. And I will talk to you guys soon. Thanks for joining me. Bye-bye.